Welcome to this session entitled A Tour of FamilySearch data. Over the next 15 minutes, I'd like to give you a quick overview of all of the rich genealogical data types that FamilySearch has gathered over many, many years, data sources that you can dig into to help find your ancestors. I'd like to start our time together with a quick tour of the genealogical data that's available on FamilySearch, but first, let me tell you how to get to it. When you first come to FamilySearch and log in, you're going to be on a page like this called the Logged In homepage. And it's full of great activities that you can do, and you ought to explore that. But to get to the genealogical data, you're going to want to click Search up here in the header. It'll drop down a menu, and I'm going to choose Records for now, but we'll go over all the other types of data listed there. This brings you to the Historical Records search form, and notice that the other kinds of data are listed along the subheader here, and we're going to go talk about what each one of those means. In talking about the kind of genealogical data we have on the website, the very first one we have to talk about is historical records. These are documents that are usually created during the lifetime of your ancestor at their key life milestones like a birth, a marriage, a death, entry into the military, maybe even when they bought some land. And we leave these documents scattered around about our life, and for over 125 years, FamilySearch has been going out and working with civic organizations and governments and churches to photograph and gather in these documents. Here's an example of one. This is the 1940 U.S. Census, and it's an image. We publish these images online. You can look at the image and you can see here's George Vincent and his wife Ora, his son Glenn and his daughter Rosalie, but you can see it, but these are really just pixels on an image, and so the computer can't really make use of that. So we have these absolute marvelous, amazing human beings out there that dedicate their precious time for the good of humanity. They look at these images, they type in what they see. We call this, the technical word for it is indexing, but they transcribe what they see on the image and turn it into text. If you want to be one of these magnificent, amazing, marvelous human beings, come up to the top here. There's the word indexing. At some point you click on that. We'll guide you right in and show you how to do it, and you can become part of that a magnificent club making these records available for people to find their ancestors in. When those people are done transcribing what's on the image, FamilySearch then takes it and creates a document out of it. Here's George Vincent. You can scroll down. We have his wife Ora and Glenn and Rosalie, but look, these aren't just pixels on an image anymore. This is text. And we have genders and ages and locations of where they lived, etc. It's just fabulous. And this is what the computer can search. Okay, with that explanation, let's go back to the main historical records search page. This is going to be the page that you come to access all of the billions of records that FamilySearch has indexed. There's three main tools you're going to use here, and the first is the search form here at the top. On this form, it comes in a condensed form with only a few fields open, but if you want to add some more information, you can click the More options. It starts out with a first name, last name, any place, a year range, location. However, if I wanted to add some additional info, all I have to do is click these buttons here. I can click to add a spouse's first name and last name. I could add a birth date and place if I wish, or I could add a type of record, such as a census record. Now, I'm going to go ahead and close this up for now. This is going to function a lot like you would expect on any search form, and we're going to do some searches in just a few minutes. The next tool on this page that's very useful is just below and to the left of the main search form. It's called Find a Collection, and it allows me to identify a single collection of records and search just that collection rather than the billions of records that FamilySearch has. For instance, I can come into this field here and just type in United States Census, and it will give me a list of all of the United States censuses that we have. I can click one of those collections and it will take me to a search form for just that collection. There's a second way to get into the collections though, and that's the Browse All Collections link below. If I click that, it's going to take me to a page where I can see the name of all of the 3,100 plus collections. I can tell if the collection has images on the website or if the images happen to be off on another website. I can see the number of indexed records in the collection and when it was last updated. And over here to the left, I have a number of different filters by place, date, and type that will filter all of those collections down to just what I'm looking for. And again, if I put in the censuses, it will instantly filter that and show me the list of those collections. Back on the main historical record search page, the third useful tool is found just below the main search form, and it's called Search by Place. What this allows me to do is search all of the records that FamilySearch has indexed from a given location. For instance, if I would put in United States here, it would give me a list of the various states inside of the United States, and I could click one of those like Alaska. It will take me to a page where there's some training and materials about how to search in Alaska, a wiki page about Alaska. I can access a search form for all of the historical records that have been indexed. I can also search by individual collections in Alaska, and I have access to the image-only collections, the ones that have not been indexed, where I can go look for the individual images. And below that, there's a list of the material that's inside of the FamilySearch catalog that pertains to Alaska. It's a very powerful tool. If, however, I don't know exactly where my location is, I can click this Browse Places below, and it will take me to a map. And I can click on my region of the world. It will give me the list of the countries or jurisdictions inside that area where I clicked. And then clicking one of those will take me to the page for that collection. Okay, before we go look at other kinds of data on FamilySearch, let's come back to the main historical record search form and do a quick search. I've come back, I've clicked more options on that search form, and up at the top I've typed in George H. Vincent. I've clicked the spouse tool and I put in his wife's name as Aura. I chose the record type and I said only show me records of type census, residence, or list. And then with the location button checked, I said I only want records that originated from the United States and the state of Utah. So when I do that search, it's going to go through the billions of records on FamilySearch, and you can see the second record here in red is the 1940 census that we were looking at previously. If I want to refine my search after having done it, the refine form is here on the right hand side, and I can change any of the parameters that I entered and redo that search. The next one is images, and it turns out that probably 70 to 80% of all the stuff that FamilySearch has acquired over the last 120 something years hasn't been indexed. And that's why we make that plea to have people come and help us get these records indexed, transcribed so that they can be searchable and bring those ancestors to life off the records. But for those that aren't searchable, we have this tool which allows you to come in. You can type a location and you can access over 4.5 billion images here. In this case, I'm interested in maybe Mapleton, Utah. And I can click, I can see the image groups that are available there. There's one of them, it tells me how many images there are, 1,685. And if I click it, it'll bring me right into those images. They're organized in sets, and I can see what those sets are on the side. And I can scroll through the images. If there's a particular image that I want to look at, I can just click it and it'll load it. These are awesome. So don't be afraid of looking at these image sets. Most of your ancestors are actually found in that, and it's a tremendous resource. Let's go take a look at the next one, which is Family Tree. The Family Tree is searchable. Many of you are probably familiar with it, but what you really need to know about it is a community tree. It's a collaborative tree, wiki-like. Everybody has the ability to come in and make the data better. It's always evolving. And so this is the main place where you're going to document all of your genealogical conclusions. And for me, I can load the tree. It kind of looks like this. It'll start out with whoever my main person is. In my case, I chose my great-grandfather, Francis Bernard Allor, because that's the area where I typically start working. This tree has about 1.3 billion people in it from all around the world, going back hundreds and hundreds of years. It's one of the largest, most accurate, and fast-growing family trees online. The next kind of data is genealogies. Unlike Family Tree, which is a single large tree built and improved by everyone, genealogies is a collection of small individual trees submitted to FamilySearch for preservation purposes. In the same way historical records are organized into discrete collections, so are the trees inside the genealogies database. You can take a look at the individual collections here below the search form with descriptions of what each collection is. If you'd like to look at all of the trees in FamilySearch according to collections, here on the left-hand side there's a View All Trees button. Clicking that will take you into a page where you can see the various collections listed along the top, and clicking any one of those collection buttons will filter the list of collections of tree data down to the discrete ones. Or you can filter based on name. If you'd like to submit your own tree into this collection, Scroll down a little bit on the page, and at the bottom you'll see a button that says Upload your individual tree. That will allow you to upload a GEDCOM file, and it'll be placed into the collection known as Pedigree Resource File. Let's do a quick search. At the top of the page, you'll see the search form, which is very similar to the search form you saw in historical records. It comes in a slimmed down variety, and clicking the More options will give you ability to add additional data into your search form. I've typed in Franklin Bernard Allor, who is my great-grandfather, and Michigan, which is where he lived. When I do that search, the system goes and it finds my great-grandfather and all of the trees in which he's found in our system. And below his name, you can see the collection that it found him in. I'm going to filter for collection because I'd like to just see the ones from the Pedigree Resource File. I click that and I apply, and I'm down to just those instances of my great-grandfather in the PRF. Here's one that's interesting because it lists many of his family members. I can see the tree display that looks very much like Family Tree, and clicking the buttons to expand any given line backwards, such as right here, will expand the tree in that direction. For the person who is at the focus position, I have information about him on the right-hand side. The next kind of data is the catalog data. Let's go over to the FamilySearch catalog. You're probably familiar with catalogs if you've ever been to a public library. You can go into a public library, they'll have computer terminals there. You can type in keywords and phrases or author names, and it will search all of the holdings of that library. It'll search the books and the magazines, the DVDs, everything that that library has. In many cases, it will even search other libraries. That's the way you should think about the FamilySearch catalog. It is a collection or a database of all of the holdings of FamilySearch. It's not a place where you come and type in Howard Allor and look for your grandfather, but it is a place where you might type in Pompano Beach, records, books, probate, and it will show you which collections you might find some of your grandfather's probate records in. We make all of our holdings, maps and books and gazetteers, and everything FamilySearch has is in here, including all of those thousands of collections that are in the historical record. And we also link out to other catalogs, and so you can search WorldCat or the Archived Grid. And so if you find something here, we might have it in Salt Lake, but if you go to WorldCat, it might tell you, well, this title is available at all these other libraries, one of which might be nearer to you. Let's jump to the next one, which is books. One of the holdings FamilySearch has is books. It's a library. The Family History Library in Salt Lake City has 5 floors, and then we have hundreds or thousands of remote libraries scattered all around the world, and they have holdings on their shelves as well. And what we're doing is digitizing many of those books. Once those genealogical books are imaged and digitized, we construct ebooks out of them and we put them available up here. You can come in and search by author or title or topic or anything, and I'm going to do a quick search here for a book about Johanni Wolfgram. He was instrumental in Tonga. I find the book, I can view all 262 pages of that book. I can browse through the book just as if it was an ebook. It's a beautiful thing. Our goal is to get all of the key genealogical books that we have in the Family History Library and make those available online. It'll be through this books system. Really fabulous. The last kind of content in our little tour is the FamilySearch Wiki. You'll find it at the end of the subnav, and when you click it, it brings you into an environment that's very much like Wikipedia, except all of the content is focused on genealogy. Expert researchers, people such as yourselves, come in and do a brain dump of all their expertise of how to research in different collections, different locations, different time frames. And let me give you a quick example. My family comes from Baden, Germany. And if I type in Baden, I can choose one that looks, this Baden German Empire genealogy. It looks like a general purpose Baden one. And if I click search, it'll take me over to a page just loaded with information about everything there is to know about researching in Baden, Germany. I get a historical background, some getting started guides, various research tools. On the sidebar, look at all the links I have, how to read the records, major record types, some background, local resources. It's an amazing collection with maps and all kinds of information about how to find your family in Baden. And if you type in your hometown or an area where your family came from, you'll probably find similar things to what I have here in the wiki. So by way of summary, FamilySearch over the many, many years has gathered a treasure trove of genealogical information of various types. We have the historical records, which represent documents left behind during key events in your ancestors' lives. We have unindexed images, which are those documents, but they haven't been made searchable yet. The family tree, which is the one world tree that everyone in the world can come and build and make better. Alongside that, we have individual genealogies that users have submitted to us, documenting their own research for preservation purposes. We also have the catalog, which lists all of the holdings that FamilySearch has. We have the digital books collection, where we've been scanning books in a family history library and around in all of our libraries and making those available to you as ebooks. Alongside that, we have the FamilySearch Wiki, where experts and researchers around the world have documented their best knowledge of techniques and resources. This has been a quick tour of the types of genealogical data that FamilySearch has gathered and offers. And as always, we wish you the best in finding your ancestors.